Yeah, hi. So in this slide, I'm going to talk about building serverless AI agents with Langbase. It is a developer guide to context engineered agentic RAG and composable AI primitives. So there is a traditional shift in today's AI era. So traditional framework used to be blotted architecture, rigid framework, messy server maintenance, endless YML files, slow deliver feedback loops. But now it is a serverless primitive. The architecture is composable, infrastructure is zero maintenance cloud, configuration is focused logic blocks, piece is a real-time one-click deploy. The evolution of AI application architecture. So initially it was like a plain LLM relies on internal training data prone to hallucination, lacks private knowledge. Standard RAG fetches external documents to ground answer static logic that cannot take action. Now agentic RAG dynamically retrieves memory contracts, reason over it, and uses external tool to execute tasks autonomously. Now let's try to decode the agentic RAG. So RAG is what? It is a retrieving relevant information from vast set of documents to ground answers instead of guessing. Agentic, autonomous software powered by LLM that perceives, reason, decides, and act. When we combine this, it's called agentic RAG. So AI that dynamically retrieves its own context and uses memory to take task-focused actions. So what are the components of this? So you have a pipe, so which is like a serverless agent logic and routing. You have a memory, which is long-term vector storage and semantics search. You have a tools, which is API and a web capabilities for taking actions. You have a workflows, which is multi-step orchestration, condition and retries. Then you have a threads, which is a persistent conversation history and a state. And then you have a preprocessor, parser, chunker, and embedding engines for the raw data. The agentic RAG system architecture. So you first establish knowledge base using initialize, then you ingest, upload, parse, and process data, langbase.memories.documents.upload, and initialization is done by langbase.memories.create. Then you retrieve, execute semantic vector search, which is like langbase.memories.retrieve. Then you process, you generate grounded response via agent, which is langbase.pipes.run. Now let's talk about what is the memory agent ingestion pipeline. So you have a raw facts.txt, you parse it, you extract structures and meaning, and then you have a chunk, split text into pieces, chunk size is like 10,000, chunk overlap is 40, you embed, translate into numerical vectors, which is like a model OpenAI text embedding 3 large. Then you have an index which locks into vector database. Then you have a semantic retrieval and a vector search. So language.memories.retrieve query is like user input, top key is a 4, spatial proximity dictates contextual relevance, outperforming exact keyword matching. User query, how do I upgrade my individual plan? It goes for the 4 nearest semantic matches, document chunks, generating grounded response. So you have a system respond. You are a helpful support agent, only use given context, always cites resources. It retrieved context for precise text chunks faced from vector memory. User query, how do I upgrade? So it's like langbase.pipes.run, streams false. Then you have got a verified response, highly accurate, context aware answer grounded strictly in a private data. Expanding autonomy with tools and MCP, AI agent pipe, you have a GitHub API, database query, web search, you have a model context protocol. Connecting tools to an MCP servers allows agents to fetch live data and automate complex external workflows dynamically without hard coding integrations. Command, the serverless agent ADI prompt. Create a support agent for order queries. Describe agent in plain English to auto-generate underlying code. Agent AI IDI TypeScript import agent context response from add command SDK auto-generated based on the prompt. Export constant order support. Now you have a memory management, which is like a real-time editable TypeScript SDK generation, intelligent auto creation of a vector stores based on the prompt context. From code to production in one click. Agent app. Can you help me? Sure. What do you need? Sure. What do you need? Agent. What are you in? Agent API. So agent API calls this agent and send the query. The flow diagram is like you start, is query complex? Yes. Use vector search, generate response, and if no, generate response. Fully hosted production ready scalable UI, scalable serverless, endpoint with copy paste integration, snippets, visualize logic map, plotting decision paths, and branching conditions. The serverless AI architectural checklist: zero frameworks needed, build entirely with composable TS and JS SDK primitives, no rigid abstractions, built-in ingestion pipelines, memory agents handle parsing, chunking, and embedding automatically. Context engineered guardrails, pipes ensures responses are strictly grounded in your private vector data. instant production, serverless scaling, one-click deployment, auto-generated UI API endpoint, ready to build, npm install Langbase.